And we're recording.
Woo.
Okay, so hi, how are you?
Doing good, Candace. How are you?
Good. So today we are talking with Dr. Kimberly Lincoln. She is the owner and founder of the hemp skincare company GlauxChem. Did I say that
Ooh,
right?
yeah, I got a bottle. Here we go. Bloop.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
GLAUX. So it's like fancy.
Hello. Get your
Glow
little
Kim.
out.
So tell us about a little bit about your background because you're a doctor, right?
Yes, I am a doctor of molecules, is what I say.
Love it.
Which I totally love your periodic table. Like
Yeah.
I should be the one with that, but you're
Next time.
reference, so it's
Next
good,
time.
I can talk, you can point, it'll be
You
good.
know where I got this, ironically? Hobby
Where?
Lobby.
Really?
Yes,
Anything like that there.
right. It was online. I got it online, but
Okay.
weird.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
So background, I have my PhD in bio and organic chemistry. So that's like metals plus organic things, carbon, hydrogen. So my work was based in developing compounds to treat Alzheimer's disease. And from there, I just learned a lot about, like the brain and like diseases and free radicals, which will play into like our discussion later about, skin damage, UV rays and stuff. Fell in love with it, was fascinated. And I feel like I was born to be a chemist. My parents bought me my first chemistry set when I was 7. So I was
I
like,
had
oh,
one too.
yeah, we talked about that.
Nerds.
So I remember when I was little, this might sound bad, but we had a lot of slugs in Texas growing up, San Antonio, Texas people.
Whoop,
So
whoop.
I
I
would,
gotta learn more about this breakfast taco you were talking about.
oh, girl, yeah. So it's a select community, we'll say. It's actually, we'll get off topic, but
Yeah.
in San Antonio, they changed the food from pizza to be the breakfast taco. Like that's their city like food. So, and there's like this rival between like Austin and Texas is like who created the breakfast taco?
Okay.
San Antonio.
I've never been. I want to go, so I have to check out the breakfast taco when we're there.
Yeah, they're good. It's better than a burrito because you can like get 3 different tacos with like 3 different things.
Like, what's in them? Is it like
Whatever you want. I mean,
like
like I personally
chorizo?
get like
Egg?
potato and egg. Oh yeah, they got chorizo, they got carne, they got chicken, they got veggie, they got mushroom. Like it's pretty much any burrito, but it's just in a little taco.
Oh my god, I can't wait. Anyways, back to the chemistry set or the
Yeah.
slugs.
So when I was little, I would like to pour salt on the slugs because it, just makes them melt. But like I was fascinated with that. I remember I always did that. And then checking the pH in the pool with like the little indicators and the
Yep.
drop because I
Yep.
just like seeing the colors change. So which
Yeah, that's exactly why I liked chemistry or, science, whatever. When I was a kid, I wanted to see the colors change.
yeah, it's
So,
funny.
where did you get your PhD?
So I did that at Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, Texas. And then before that, I did my undergrad in San Antonio, my hometown, at University of the Incarnate Word.
Sweet.
Then I
So,
moved to Tucson.
yeah, there you go. That's my next question.
I moved to Tucson. I did my postdoc for a year, more bio and organic chemistry, but I was very like synthesis heavy. So that's like making compounds from like different ones. And it was really difficult, hard work. I mean, it took me on a good day, it was like a 14-step synthesis. So it took a lot of time to make. So you can imagine you have to get every step right.
Yeah, I remember organic chemistry lab, and like it was like 4 hours long just to make a freaking crystal at the end to melt it to get the melting point. And I was like, oh, I love it, but gosh dang.
It's labor, but I miss it actually.
Did
Like I
you
was
start like backwards, or did you start like as far as I'm trying to remember my organic chemistry? Like where you synthesize compounds, like you start at the end and work backwards, or
yeah, retrosynthetic.
that
Yeah. I mean, not really.
kind of different.
So that depends on, I feel like more if you're publishing and working on something that has never been done before. But like what I was working in, there was like established, there were compounds that were similar. So you didn't really have to work backwards. But if you're
Gotcha.
trying to like a unique compound, yeah, I mean, you have to
I
go
just
back.
remember my professor saying, that's where the money is. Well, I didn't go that route, so
It's true.
I chose
But
academia.
cannabis is going to be the next, it's $1 billion industry. So
I know. We'll talk more.
yeah, definitely.
Oh, so I should say I'm Candace Mason, founder of Desert Camo Apparel. We specialize in UV apparel and accessories, certified UPF 50 plus, so blocks more than 98% of the sun's UV rays. I started this because I got skin cancer and I have to cover up when I go out into the sun. But we met at a networking event here in town at Chic Boutique and Spa, and I think we met when I was like finding out, did I have my lung biopsy or not?
No, you had said you had just went to the doctor and, oh, maybe you had your biopsy and I think you were waiting to hear back the results.
I think that's it.
They
Yeah.
had just found the new lesion. I think it was you said on your lung or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then all hell broke loose.
You're doing good, man. You're a survivor. Like, you're going to make it, you know.
Did you learn about brain necrosis when you were doing your brain stuff? Am
I mean,
I at high risk for Alzheimer's?
oh, really?
No, am I? I was wondering. I wonder that. Like,
Um,
what are the long-term effects on my brain?
So, I mean, if you have necrosis, which is like tissue death, it's definitely going to depend on like, you know, where you have it and stuff. I mean, it just comes from oxygen deprivation, oxidative stress, inflammation, chronic. I mean, there's so many different things and the brain is so complex. We don't really know. So, I mean, I would say it's hard, you know, hard to say. The thing that's pretty amazing about the brain is like people with Parkinson's disease, a lot of times in the substantia nigra of their brain, they have a lot of depletion of some brain cells there. And what's crazy is they don't even see symptoms until 80% of those cells are dead.
Mm.
So your brain is very plastic is the term they use. So it adapts and it will like take other areas and kind of like, you know, but if there's just so much damage with Alzheimer's, it's like, I don't know if they'll ever find a cure. We don't really know what causes it. You know, they test on animals, but it's not a human. So the model is only as good as, you know, you have, but.
Correct. You know, that's it. Look, I don't even know if we're going to get to what we were talking about because we just keep.
We're going to get there. UV rays. And
I love it. You know, people, you know, when you have like translational, you know, science or, you know, whatever, it's hard because you're going from animal models to humans and, you know, things don't always cross over and your experiments don't work. And yeah, it's hard. It's rough. That's why we have research, I guess.
Yeah, I'm all about, I mean, like with GlauxChem, when I develop, like I experiment on myself 100%, you know, like I definitely would never do animal testing or anything like that. I've never been a fan of it. I mean, it can teach us some stuff, but like, again, you know, it's not the humans. So.
Yeah. And like mice are small. I don't know. I did animal research methods, so I understand why it's important. But, you know, at the end of the day, we do try to treat them as humanely as possible.
Yeah.
But anyways, another discussion. Okay, so let's talk about melanoma and melanin and all that stuff, and maybe how like your plant-based skincare can, you know, help out or, you know.
Yeah, support. Yeah, so, you know, melanoma obviously like comes from too much sun exposure. People with lighter pigments, you know, less melanin, they tend to be way more prone to getting, you know, melanoma. You know, darker color skin, you know, blacks, Mexicans, Hispanics, you know, they don't really develop it as much. So there's definitely, you know, a genetic factor in terms of the pigmentation. But I actually, you know, read a little bit on melanin when I was in grad school, and a few things that fascinated me, which I didn't really know, but it's literally like your body, your skin's natural protective mechanism against being out in the sun.
Right.
And so, you know, when you're in your 20s, you're like, yeah, I want to get that tan. And it's like, that's just your skin producing its melanin, and it, you know, rises up to the surface, and they explain like a little umbrella that opens up, and it's trying to protect your skin from all the damage and stuff. And it's like, you know, the reason also that you don't tan as efficiently, you know, when you're older is just because your melanin stores deplete. You know, so melanoma is bad. It's definitely, I think is it the #1 killer of skin cancers, right?
Yeah, it's like, so there's There's different types. There's 3 main types, but melanoma is, the worst out of them all because it can spread to other tissues. And
Yeah,
so
like,
melanin, it resides in the basal layer,
yep.
right? That's where it's
Yep.
produced. And then, like you said, the umbrella.
It's like in the lower layer of your epidermis, and then it goes up to your keratin and your keratinocytes and stuff like that. So
Yeah, so they're just natural pigments that are found in mammals, and I found it interesting. So they're black or brown, and they are responsible for cephalopod ink, so like squids and
nice.
octopi.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, one thing I learned in grad school was we actually worked with someone that studied melanin, and it's a light sensitive compound. And so what's crazy is they still don't know the actual structure of melanin. It's never been elucidated. So they say, like, if someone can elucidate it, it will be a Nobel Prize. And it's like, well, you think about it, how do you work with something that's light sensitive? I mean, it's difficult.
Yeah. So
you know.
yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that. Maybe we could do that. We could do that. I'll be your lab tech because that's what I am. I've been doing cancer research for 14 years. I'll do the lab stuff, and I'll be your
My biology person.
yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the B word, but that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm just going over my notes. I'm glad that you did this because
it was a group effort.
Yes, it was, but like at the end of the day, in my brain, just
yeah, I feel like talking about free radicals. So I have some little marbles that I have, and so
do it.
Yeah. All right. So UV rays, the sun, they give off things called, well, the sun gives off UV rays, and then that generates free radicals, especially with oxygen, which is a very common gas in our atmosphere. So free radicals are just unpaired electrons. So electrons, they're like this. They want to be paired. They don't ever want to be single. So you can think of this is my little blue marble. So this is your unpaired electron. And so if light hits, let's say, an oxygen atom, right, O2, it can come in, it'll absorb a photon or energy, and then it'll give it a free radical. And these guys aren't stable. And so they'll just run around and they'll react with whatever they can. That reaction is with your skin, right? You get a sunburn, you get mutation in your DNA, your skin gets dry, right? Because your fat barrier gets compromised, you lose water. So that's the biggest thing. And, you need to be deficient in your antioxidants. So those help. So instead of, the free radical coming into your skin and messing it up, let's say you put something on your skin, like a sunblock or a plant oil, well, it'll come in and that molecule of that compound will give up its radical and go over there. And so instead of, hurting your skin, it's going to take from what's that protective on your skin. So that's the biggest thing, is just free radicals. And they're there. I mean, we produce them, we need them. They're essential to life. Like, you use them in your body, but when they're overload and when our antioxidant defenses are down, that's how it gets bad.
I love this. I feel like I'm back in college in chemistry class.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I had to get the colors right, because
I remember my molecule. You had to make molecules, the little plastic pieces.
Yeah, the models.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, I'll tell you what, drawing in 3D and that stuff is hard for me.
I liked it. It was fun. And then making like cis and trans, like I love the cyclic compounds.
Like benzene?
Yeah, like those are my favorite. Yeah. I just like drawing those a lot.
Those are a lot easier.
Well, you got to get the lines just right, or then it looks like.
Oh, aromatics, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so you were, before, we were planning for this meeting, you were talking about like plant pigments and how, was it the hemp you left out changed colors or something?
Yeah, so the pigments in plants, right, they're universal, right? Green plants are green because they have chlorophyll, that's the pigment in them. But you have like xanthophylls, you have carotenoids. So like a carrot is orange because it's got beta carotene, that's a carotenoid. An egg yolk is yellow because it has lutein. And so that just has to do with like the structure of the pigment. But if you leave them all out into the sun, they'll bleach over time. Now, plants don't do it because they're amazing. But if you take these plant oils like hemp oil, so this happened by accident, but I'm going to squirt some into my hand. Let's see if you can see it. Kind of hard to see, but.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's got that, you know, I don't know if we'll push them on, you know. It's got that green color, so that comes from chlorophyll. So I was doing a photo shoot one day. You know, I had this little container because I was shooting the oil, left it outside. And then, you know, a few weeks later came back to this like real hard white wax. And I was like, what is that? And then I was like, oh, that was my hemp oil. So the sun just completely bleached it. It oxidized it, you know. I mean, coral reefs are bleaching because of pH changes and stuff, but it's the same concept, whereas that pigment is just getting destroyed. And so it oxidizes and converts into something that's colorless. And that happens because in order to be a pigment, if you know what double bonds are, it has to be very rich in double bonds and have a property called conjugation. So you can think of conjugation as like, you know, when you play like Red Rover and everyone like links arms and there's like this row of people, and then someone comes and they bust open through that arm. So it's just a big row of double bonds that are all right next to each other. But double bonds like to take up electrons, and so they act as the antioxidant and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it works from a chemical standpoint. I need to get a board to draw it. Maybe I'll do that in like another video. But
well, apparently on Zoom, well, okay, so I tried to do it with my phone and my iPad, but basically I learned you have to have a computer so you can get the recording option, but there's like a whiteboard option, and like, I don't know, there's a green button that says share screen.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And then like you click on that and there's like a whiteboard option.
I feel like drawing on the computer.
Oh, maybe not. Oh yeah, whiteboard right there.
Okay. Maybe we can do that next time. We'll schedule
next time.
Stuff. But yeah, so basically all the plant pigments do is just interrupt those free radicals. They take on the burden of, you know, the sunburn, the DNA damage. So, you know, that's something I actually noticed when I was developing the product. You know, I was wearing hemp oil, I'd go out for bike rides, and, you know, a few things I noticed was my skin didn't burn, but it also tanned. And so it was like I had this like pigmentation enhancement. But then after a few days, you'll notice it'll just like rub off of your skin in the shower. So it's got some sort of protective effect. It's not really established in the literature. You know, there's not much not much at all about skin and hemp, you know, which is something I would like to change in the future, and especially study the UV properties and stuff. So, you know, for someone with skin cancer or skin proneness, you know, wearing these plant pigments like hemp oil, pumpkin seed oil, pomegranate seed oil, as long as there's a color to it, that's going to help you in addition to a topical with like zinc oxide and stuff.
Yeah, or people that are, you know, have allergies, you know, to chemicals and, you know, things like that, and the microplastics in the current sunscreens that are not, you know, reef safe or whatever. So not that we have to worry about that here, but, you know, you want to go to the lake or the ocean.
What is this water you speak of?
I know, right? We need it. The mountain's on fire.
Oh my God, I'm so sad. Like Mount Lemmon is just closed and I can see it just burning through my window and I'm just like.
Yeah, it's crazy because my son had baseball practice last night. We live in Vail, and it's all the way like by the foothills, but like we were coming home and like it, you know, it's down in the valley and it's just like, it sucks. It's sad, but it's like this beautiful, like glowing inferno.
You can't help but look at it. It's like gorgeous and it's the cycle of life, but it's still like super sad because it's like, that's like where we go to escape the summer, the heat, like that's where I relax. And, you know, I mean, you know.
Or like I walked out of work the other day and it, you know, the entrance faces the mountains and like there's the red slurry that they had put on, you know, like whatever last week or something. And it's like,
oh yeah, the flame
that's massive.
Yeah.
So
I mean, at least they say that it's holding, so that's good.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll be over.
So they actually use bromine. If you look over your little periodic table right there, under chlorine, there should be bromine. 3 over. 2, 3. Yep, bromine.
Number 35.
Yeah. So that's what they use in flame retardants. And fun fact, it's one of the 2 elements that are liquids at room temperature. You only have 2, mercury and bromine.
I love science.
Elements are fun.
Carbon. This is the one that's important for life.
Yeah.
Chopston. That's organic chemistry.
Oh, yeah, the schnapps. Yeah.
I'm always like, there's an I in there. No. Unless you want to put, was it
For your
iodine?
thyroid, iodine, yes.
Right there. Boom. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I feel like we wrote down a lot of stuff, but I think we.
We did. We'll have to publish like a blog or something to,
Oh.
it's super informative, but we want to talk about melanin, melanoma, how you can protect yourself naturally, I mean, obviously we're not doctors, medical doctors, so you should consult with your physician if you have any questions about anything. And, but we can do a joint blog and we can educate, and 'cause that's what we're all about, education.
Exactly. And, bringing awareness and such. So, yeah. So your best bet to prevent melanoma or skin cancer in general is to cover up, mineral sunscreens, which is zinc oxide or titanium dioxide, or both. Let's see, we covered the free radicals. Wow, that happened really fast. So, are UV rays bad for you? Yes and no. Right.
Right.
So you need that to produce vitamin D, but too much causes things like skin cancer,
Right.
sunburns, and such.
That's what they call oxidative stress. So when you hear antioxidant, they are just trying to fight oxidative stress. And a lot of times that will induce inflammation. And so your immune system will respond by producing things called cytokines and stuff. And it just ramps up this whole, and that accelerates free radicals. So you got to have that balance.
Yep, everything in moderation, except for myself these days. Yeah, and then genetics play a big part of it. So I know that my grandma had it, not the extent that I do or did. I got to put it in the past. So yeah, and then maybe it skipped a generation because my mom and her sisters don't have anything. So I don't know. So hopefully it'll skip my kids, but hopefully my grandkids don't get it. I don't know. It's all these things I think about.
Yeah.
God, that I feel like that was it.
That's it, right?
That's it, yeah.
So I guess let me ask you a question. So what's your advice to people that are, younger, they're always out in the sun, they're not covering up, they're not protecting, they're just being, young and having fun?
Yeah, well, when I was, in college or whatever, well, I guess, I mean, I didn't have anybody to teach me like skincare routine or protect yourself. And, we maybe only wore sunscreen when we were out at the lake. But, in my 20s, yeah, I didn't wear sunscreen, but I never really burned or, I never got like blistery burns or anything. I would, get really tan or whatever, but then it would go away really quick. I never got really pigmented or anything.
Right.
So, and the only thing I wore like oil of Olay, which I think is SPF 15. Like I used that on my face. And then I had like, what is that, Bare Minerals that has sunscreen in it. But like nobody told me to reapply every 2 hours. I never wore, I wore tank tops and stuff all the time. I didn't wear sunscreen. So yeah, I'm trying to teach my boys, like if I had girls, daughters or whatever, I could, really teach them or whatever. But, my boys, I'm just trying to tell them sunscreen or, they play baseball. So I'm trying to get them to wear like sleeves and stuff. But, it's hard when it's hot. I get it. But
it is. Well, hey, you can put on the sunblock and the plant oils because they penetrate deeper, so they definitely help,
Well, I do have to tell you, I bought the hair oil, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And I love the smell of it and I love the way it works. But so I just got off a round of steroids and like towards the end I got really like painful acne and my face was dry and I'm trying all these things, but like I put that hair oil on my face and then I got this like silicone skin balm it's called or whatever. I put that on top and I just feel like it locked it all in, and then like the next day like my skin was like dewy and like I felt like it just kind of like cleared everything up and like healed my skin. Like it was amazing. So I've been like putting that on everything.
Yeah,
the hair oil.
Yeah. I mean, I don't recommend putting the scented stuff on your face at all, but it's, I mean, obviously if you're having inflammation and stuff, I mean, the peppermint in it is anti-inflammatory, but it also induces capillary vasodilation flow. So there's that. But yeah, there's a lot of anti-inflammatory. So, I mean, if you need it, I mean, it's better than a water-based nasty or Vaseline or whatever, you know, some other people might use.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like my life is a guinea pig, you know, being a cancer patient.
Yeah.
So I'll try whatever. I'm a low
You're
key.
doing great. We're all proud of you. You're kicking ass. I love seeing
Oh, thanks.
all your posts and
Yeah, I got one more round of Avastin, and let's hope that is enough to treat the necrosis. There's nothing in the literature about that either with that and the steroids, so that's why I feel like I'm a guinea pig. That's fine though. Somebody got to do it.
well, cannabis is very good for your brain. Even if you do, you know, edibles, probably something you want to do. Maybe if you're not into smoking, you could vape, but like get like the volcano vaporizer. It's way different, but very neuroprotective. I mean, the government has a ban on it, and it's like antioxidant neuroprotectant, so it's established, and it does stimulate neurogenesis in your hippocampus, which is where Alzheimer's, where you start to have problems and those cells die. But also activating your endocannabinoid system, which is how cannabis works. It activates the endocannabinoid system in your brain, but it's all over your body and it helps with inflammation. So, you know, exercise, 30 minutes of cardio exercise at least 3 times a week.
I've been trying to walk more because trying to get these steroids and stuff and out of my system and get that again back.
Well, you're doing good. Keep posting.
And I am glad that we met because we're nerds and we get it. And like, so I feel like I am the liaison between, you know, the general public and the scientific world. Like I'm the interpreter.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like, you know, I can explain it. But
I will say the struggle was real at first, you know, when I started the business and creating content, and I like partnered with a company that we would write blogs together. And, you know, I would just send them a bunch of like technical stuff and they completely rewrite it. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, because you forget how to do that when you're publishing in journals and, you know, talking with scientists all the time. You're like, you know.
Yeah, and like, you know, a lot of science is big words. It's like a whole nother language. Yeah. You know, you got to do a lot of looking up, or, you know,
especially even all those nasty like skincare ingredients. It's like ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid or hemp oil. It's like, well, it's hemp oil. I can pronounce that.
I know, right? I love it. But I'm glad that we touched on the brain stuff because, you know,
oh girl.
So and like when I was diagnosed with melanoma, I didn't know anybody, so I took to social media, blah blah blah, and so I met a few people that have had like brain metastasis, and like, so I think this will be very, you know, beneficial for them too.
Yeah. I mean, the younger you are, the better. The more time your brain has to recover. But I mean, the brain's crazy. There's some really cool stuff, you know, like synesthesia fascinates me. Like there's so many things. So it's like, you know, you could get a diagnosis, but you don't really know what's going to happen, you know. But I can recommend a book called The Tale of the Dueling Neurosurgeons by Sam Keen. And it was kind of like, you know, the history of like how they studied the brain and like, you know, because it's like, you think about it, like, how did we learn about the brain? And what they used to do to understand, you know, this part of the brain, you know, does this, is they would just observe what happened to people when they had brain injuries, you know. And there was like a king, I forget, it was like King Henry or Arthur. One of them got like stabbed in the head when he was doing like fencing or something. But he survived. And then they just noticed like he had all these different changes in his functions. And what people used to do is rob graves and steal them and then look at their brain. And so that's like how they discovered the anatomy. And it's like very barbaric, but it's like,
no, I love it. I love medical history and like scientific history. Like, you know, like we have come a long way. Like I am glad I am alive in this day and age and not back in the day.
Yeah. Be a lot shorter. And I mean, you probably wouldn't have to pay as many taxes and bills, but whatever.
Yeah. No, I've read about the grave robbing and stuff, or just even like, you know, I studied microbiology. So like, just even, you know, the myths about, you know, the microbes, like werewolves and stuff. It was just a microbe, you know, like,
yeah.
So it's crazy.
It is. I agree, but it's fun.
Yes. Okay, well,
All right. We'll sign off. We're limited to recording on Zoom, so
yeah, I think so. I
next
want
time
to
we'll do social live, but my new phone is having issues, so.
yeah, and I wanted to try this. I
Yeah,
kind
I
of
like
like Insta Live better because I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
we can do another Insta live with someone and talk
Yeah.
about things.
Okay, well, thank you for your time and your knowledge. I can't wait to share this, and
Thanks.
I'll send it to you when it gets converted and all that stuff.
All right, I'll put it on my YouTube. I'll put it on my IGTV.
Yep.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you, and have a
right, bye.
lovely evening.
Have a good week. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.